140 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's going to win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
If he doesn't fight the one way that he can only fight to win it, Terence Crawford has 6 ways he can win it. And my money will go on the man who has 6 ways to win it over the man who has 1 way to win it.
Is that going to be the same version of guy that's going to show up in September? No. I mean, Canelo, he didn't look as fit as he did his last fight. He looked listless. He looked like he didn't care. He didn't have the crowd behind him.
Shawn Porter voices unwavering belief that Terence Crawford will topple Canelo Alvarez. He insists Crawford's training is on another level and that he'll enter the ring with strategy and execution never before unleashed on Canelo. Porter foresees Crawford's speed, accuracy, and discipline breaking Canelo down, turning this into a historic showcase that could stand as one of boxing's most dominant victories ever.
Makes sense, though. If Crawford's going to win this fight, he'll surprise people in the fashion he does it in. Because a lot of people picking Crawford, they think foot speed and turn Canelo all night. And I'm like, nah, he's
born victor?
No, it's just he's definitely a lot better than the guys of the last couple years who have tried to beat Canelo that way, Billy Joe, Caleb. But even though he's better than them, it didn't. That game plan, it just didn't. It didn't work. So it's not gonna look like that if Crawford pulls this off. It's gonna look different than that. To your point.
Roy Jones Jr., one of boxing's most respected voices, has been clear that he views Terence Crawford as the more versatile fighter in this clash. To Jones, Crawford carries 6 distinct paths to victory, built on adaptability, ring IQ, and his gift for mid-fight adjustments. By contrast, Jones argues Canelo Alvarez has just one: apply nonstop pressure and land those trademark power shots. He stressed that if Canelo falls short of his very best, Crawford's layers of strategy will swallow him whole. The Hall of Famer leaned toward Crawford in his prediction, noting that versatility often decides elite battles, especially when the skills are close, but the strategy gap is wide.
He can fight. He does have a chance, and I think he could be victorious. If he doesn't fight the one way that he can only fight to win it, Terence Crawford has 6 ways he can win it. And my money will go on the man who has 6 ways to win it over the man who has 1 way to win it.
So you think Canelo has to kind of fight the perfect fight, right?
If he don't, he's in trouble. If he does, he should be all good.
Let's talk about the weight a little bit, right? Because we all know everything you accomplished as a heavyweight. What is Terence dealing with right now?
I don't think Terence dealing with much of anything, because Terence did like I did as a heavyweight. He bulked up to the weight. He's been dealing with super middles and light heavyweights in training. If you can deal with them in training, you can deal with them in the fight. So the weight should not even be an issue.
Do you think Terence is that one fighter where he could accomplish what a lot of people are thinking is not doable? Is he that one fighter who's just wired and has that different DNA?
He is, and not only to mention is he the guy that can, he's already done it. How many 2 or 3 division undisputed champions have we ever had besides Usyk? Usyk is a 2 division undisputed champ. This dude is a 3 division undisputed champ already, and if he win this, he'll be a 4 division undisputed champ. We may never see that again. See, people don't like to celebrate the reality when it's happening. They'll wait till the person dead and they talk about it. This man is the only 3 division undisputed champion that boxing has ever had. And are we wondering, can he step up to a task? Really? Do you know who we're talking about?
People rarely celebrate greatness in the moment. They wait until someone's gone, then finally speak on it. This man is the only 3-division undisputed champion boxing has ever known. And we're sitting here questioning if he can rise to the challenge? Really? Do we even realize who we're talking about?
You take a top-notch Hispanic fighter, put him against a top-notch black fighter, the black dude usually edges him out. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Latino fighters, because look at the greats. De La Hoya, motherfucking
Roberto
Duran, Arguello, Felix Trinidad, what's my man's name? Chavez.
Huh?
So there have been legends, but 9 times out of 10, when the top Mexican legend takes on the top black legend, the black dude wins. Boxing and basketball is just something that niggas just We got that wop that just, we edge you out. We edge you out. D3AD lost to Hagler. He got knocked out so viciously by Hearns. The rumor is he's still waking up today. He lost he did the no mas with Leonard.
Yeah, no, I've been hanging out with Sugar Ray Leonard recently. We talked about that whole situation.
Lost to Floyd. He lost to Bernard. He lost to Sugar Shane Mosley. Usually the black fighters edge out the Latinos when it come down to it.
So basically you're saying Crawford's going to win because he's black.
I'm saying he's going to win because he's got skills. But that black component, that's that extra juice.
That's that extra juice? I mean, look.
It's like the Batmobile when it's going fast, and then he hits the nitro button, and the flame shoots out of the back of the car and takes it to another level. Black dudes have the nitro switch.
Comedian and fight aficionado Aries Spears gave his own historical lens on the showdown, pointing back to decades of boxing where great Mexican legends squared off against elite African-American fighters. Spears noted that in many of those marquee clashes, the black fighters often walked away victorious. He highlighted the mix of slick defense, counterpunch precision, and adaptability that has traditionally troubled Mexico's aggressive forward-charging style. And while he credited Canelo as one of the most complete and battle-tested champions of this era, Spears framed the bout as the next chapter in a lineage of stylistic and cultural clashes where speed, defense, and ring IQ often tilt the scale.
Whatever. I was really excited that Terence Crawford, when we were going through some of the historical things that could take place if he wins this fight, what they would mean. And at the end of that part of the conversation, he says, there's a lot riding on this fight. Like, he knows it. I don't think he feels pressure from it. I think he embraces that. But I like to hear that the fighter understands the magnitude of this fight and embraces that and realizes, like the general public that follows boxing or the media, that this is a bigger deal than your average fight, and that he is keenly aware of that. So I love that. He was very, very well spoken, and we discussed a lot of different topics, and I think people will get a kick out of it. It's on our podcast feed. It'll be up on the YouTube channel, and I hope people check it out.
Sticking with Crawford, because I spoke to a few guys in his team, and there seems to be this mindset where they really, really believe they're going to win this fight, and obviously every fighter that goes into any fight will believe they win this fight, but do you get that impression that they're in no doubt that this goes their way, and it's a case of just turning up for a payday?
Oh, absolutely. Terence Crawford has never been the kind of fighter that's just looking to take a fight to get paid. Yeah, he's going to get paid a whole ton of money, and so is Canelo Alvarez. But, if you follow Terence Crawford, if you've watched the way he fights, watch the way he conducts himself, know him at all, even just a little bit, I can't claim to be like best buddies with him, but I got a pretty good feel for Crawford, having been around him so many times for all these fights he's had. There is 0.000% chance that he is coming into this fight with anything other than victory in mind. I mean, he really believes that this is his moment to shine and create a huge addition to what's already a tremendous boxing legacy. Besides just the money, I mean, Terence Crawford can take a fight against anybody, make a good amount of money. And so while that's important, of course.
Veteran boxing voice Dan Raphael zeroed in on Crawford's mindset, stressing that the undefeated champion not only recognizes the threats Canelo brings, but embraces them. Raphael pointed out that Crawford's mentality has always thrived on chasing challenges, never running from them, rather than buckle under pressure. He uses the scale of big fights to sharpen his focus and raise his preparation. Raphael explained that this mental steadiness could prove decisive, Crawford stepping into the ring, ready for every scenario, untouched by the moment.
Canelo's legacy. And he gave a resounding yeah. A resounding yeah. He said it would massively tarnish Canelo's legacy. And some of the things that he said were just basically things that most of us know, just some register and make sure that other people know and others don't, right? But it would tarnish his legacy, and for the obvious reasons. One is, we know that the guy's older. Crawford's older. He's going to be 38 years old here, right? So he's an older fighter. He's an inactive fighter, right? And that most of the time, these are things that, make people say that people are going to lose. Man, he's inactive. So he's pretty inactive, hasn't fought in a year, hasn't fought more than once a year in 3 to 4 years.
This fight is being billed as one of the toughest tests of Crawford's career. arguably the greatest opponent he has ever faced. And for Canelo, the stakes cut just as deep. A loss to Crawford, a naturally smaller man stepping up in weight, could leave a permanent mark on his otherwise legendary resume. In boxing's grand story, legacy means everything. And falling to a smaller fighter at the height of your fame often invites sharper judgment. For Canelo, many believe victory is vital, not only for pride, but to preserve his standing among the sport's all-time greats.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong. Now, let me know how you feel in the comments below.
Showbiz the Adult, a respected voice in boxing analysis, managed to break down the matchup with balance, giving both fighters their due. He stressed that Canelo's strength, toughness, and constant pressure have long fueled his dominance. His knack for absorbing shots, setting traps, and firing back with punishing counters is unmatched in the division. At the same time, Showbiz pointed to Crawford's unique roots, including his early wrestling background, which sharpened his sense of balance, positioning, and real-time reads of opponents. That blend of athletic pedigree and boxing intelligence, he argued, could be Crawford's ultimate weapon.
Opinion changed at all?
Not a whole lot. It hasn't changed all that much. Listen, the Skull fight, could Canelo have done more? Absolutely. But is that going to be the same version of guy that's going to show up in September? No. I mean, Canelo, he didn't look as fit as he did his last fight. He looked listless. He looked like he didn't care. He didn't have the crowd behind him. And Marcus, you've been to a ton of Canelo fights. You know how that arena is. It is insane. Insane. In Vegas, I mean, it's deafening the entire fight. I remember when he fought B.J. Saunders in Texas.
Oh, my God.
And he's waving
Saunders
on
won?
80,000 fans.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he is a gladiator. You know, I called Tim a warrior. Canelo's a gladiator. He is there for the adoration of the fans. I just think that he was a little too clinical in there that night. You know, he didn't have that same drive. He had a guy who just was not willing to engage. That's not going to be Crawford, and that's not going to be Canelo. They're going to be their peak of what they are at this point. Because again, Crawford is 38 years old. Canelo will be 35 by then. So I think they're going to be the peak for what they are at their ages. But it's easy to go, wow, what have you done for me lately? That's usually how everyone kind of sees everything. So, but I think it's good. I think it makes the fight more enticing if a lot of people are thinking that Crawford can win. And don't get me wrong, Crawford can absolutely win the fight. I'm not saying he can't win the fight. But in terms of, you know, how I see it, it hasn't really changed my thoughts because I know better than to just trust that last thing I saw because there's a lot of confounding factors.
Former world champion Chris Algieri pushed back on the idea that Canelo's recent showing against John Ryder is any real gauge of what he'll deliver against Crawford. Algieri argued that Canelo has always risen when the stakes are at their highest. With legacy on the line, he expects Canelo to arrive in peak form, sharper, stronger, and far more aggressive than in past tune-ups. He stressed that fans and analysts alike should brace for a fully motivated, fully prepared Canelo, not the one seen in Stay Busy fights.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before because, again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just going to say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and that everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. Dog is, you know, he got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
I don't know,
it
feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You
what
need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But you know, okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey sitting right there, producer extraordinaire.
Shawn Porter, along with other boxing minds, broke down the tactical blueprints each man could follow. For Crawford, the path lies in controlling distance, slicing with sharp angles, and never letting Canelo set his feet for those crushing power shots. By shifting range and rhythm, Crawford could stall Canelo's steady march and chip away at him in the later rounds. Analysts emphasize this battle is just as mental as it is physical. The fighter who stays calm under fire and clings to their plan across all 12 rounds is the one most likely to prevail.
Oh my God, we just got some absolutely absurd boxing news breaking. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, targeted for December or January in the United States. Oh my God. I'm not even lying when I say this is literally one of the biggest combat sports fights of all time. And as I said earlier, it's targeted in December or January. So the build-up to this fight is going to be incredible. The fact that it's in the United States is insane. Saudi Arabia has low-key saved boxing. This is an absolutely mega fight. I was not expecting this at 1 in the afternoon, but here we are. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, targeted for December/January in the United States. Crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and click that follow button for more combat sports videos. Wow.
Fans and media have come together in their anticipation, hailing this as one of the most compelling fights of the modern era. The clash of styles is electric. Canelo's raw power and forward pressure against Crawford's surgical precision and adaptability. This isn't just a battle for titles. It's a fight that could rewrite the story at super middleweight and even shake up the pound-for-pound rankings. And this isn't hype crafted by promotion alone. Fighters, trainers, and longtime voices of the sport are truly divided on who walks away victorious.
Yeah, you know, he's ready. Right when I seen that, I said Crawford wins. His movement, everything was, he wins. It doesn't matter if Spence was not strong or strong. He had more of the stuff to win that fight. And Crawford is a game player. He's gonna come, he coming to win. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I still say Crawford anyway, but I feel bad that we didn't see the true Spence fight Crawford. If that makes any sense.
Boxing icon Shane Mosley has drawn comparisons between Crawford's style and the tools needed to defeat larger foes. Mosley argued that even if Errol Spence Jr. improved dramatically for a rematch, Crawford would still come out on top, proof of his adaptability and ring IQ. He cited Crawford's masterful dismantling of Spence as proof that size alone won't faze him. In that bout, Crawford controlled distance, chose his shots with surgical precision, and completely neutralized an elite champion. Mosley believes these skills will translate against Canelo, giving Crawford a real chance to defy the odds despite moving up in weight. Meanwhile, some analysts and fans wonder if Canelo still has the explosive bursts that defined his prime.
Well, you could argue Canelo got it tactically wrong tonight, because I just don't understand why he didn't use his jab more. I understand that he was conserving energy, he was patient, he was taking it slow. He doesn't lead off with the jab much anymore, Canelo, But really, the jab helps you bring your feet closer and bring them into range. So I don't understand why he wasn't jabbing more. He can't use that much extra energy for him to not be able to use his lead hand just a bit more in that fight. So that was a bit concerning. And you could maybe argue that he knows Crawford's ringside. He knows the fight is done for September. He maybe doesn't want to show him too much, or he wants to give him maybe false confidence or false hope. I don't think that's the case. I think you get rid of Skull if you can. And I'm just not sure Canelo is able to do it anymore at that level. Definitely good enough to beat a guy like Skull. Skull was clearly terrified of the power, but, you know, what does this mean for a fight like Crawford? Well, the first thing I noticed was, in the face-off, and I'm sure Crawford was wearing quite thick-soled trainers, as he quite often does, but the size difference didn't look that bad. It really didn't.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
At 35, after a long and punishing career, Canelo's output has visibly slowed in recent fights. That could give Crawford a chance to set the pace and control the rhythm. Yet, critics warn that Canelo's size and natural strength might still pose serious problems. Even Crawford's most loyal fans admit that moving up in weight carries real dangers, and any defensive lapse could be costly. This remains a high-stakes gamble where skill will clash head-on with size and power. And that's a wrap for today's video. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.